LeWeb. I am refusing to introduce these two gentlemen. I'm very kind to have your time. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
real pleasure.
Thanks for having us. Well, you should say who we are.
Yeah, no.
I don't think we should, because the details will be there, and they have to look at you. Then you know.
There you go. There you go. Just so you can spell the URL into the browser.
And shame on you. Like, do your research. Like, come on. Like, these guys are doing it. How's the web been so far, guys?
It's fantastic. Yeah, I've never been before. So yeah, it's really nice. It's really cool that there are a lot of transplants here from Silicon Valley, I would say, but it's been, I mean, the best part is just meeting all these entrepreneurs like yourself and the other people from other parts of Europe, and it's been fantastic. Yeah.
60, I don't know how many people from 60 different countries or some crazy number of countries, so it's very international. And LeWeb's always been that way. It grabs people from all over Europe. And
how many have you been to?
7 or 8 now.
I didn't even know there were that many.
Well, this is the first one in London. I've been all of them in Paris.
Yeah,
so in December there's 3 times the size in Paris.
Yeah. So I can say, as a young Englishman watching the West Coast in particular all the time, what's your thoughts on UK tech to start with? Because we kind of want, obviously we're looking at you guys over there like, oh, these guys get it. How do we get that in the UK? Like, what's your thoughts?
Well, we're seeing companies like TweetDeck, right?
Yeah.
And looking around and seeing some of the companies here, I haven't seen a really breakout like a Facebook or a Google yet. I guess Spotify from Denmark or Berlin is probably the closest Europe has had lately. But we're looking for that kind of bet on a big thing. Go for something that's really going to change the world. And that's why I like Paul, because he's trying to do something that in 10 years is going to be really important. So that's what I like. Yeah, that's what I'm always looking for. Is what's the next Facebook? What's the next Google? What's the next Microsoft or the next Oracle or the next big company?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, your original question, I think, was what does it take to get that sort of ecosystem to take hold in the UK? I think so much of it is just a cultural thing. It's getting people like you to organize stuff and to get people excited about it. I mean, I was telling someone earlier today, when I was in school, I worked at Google over the summer, and thought briefly about going back there for a bit. It's a great company, and I had a fantastic experience working there, but I really wanted to do startup stuff, and so I ended up deciding not to go back. I joined a startup instead, and one of my classmates asked me what I was going to do full time, and I told them that I wasn't going to go back and I was going to do a startup, without a single exception. Every single one of them said, congratulations, that's awesome. And even in other parts of the US, you don't really get that. It's something that's sort of special to the DNA of Silicon Valley, and so it's really a cultural thing at the core.
We were talking off camera, Robert, about the fact with Paul, this wouldn't happen in, say, another area. What's your thoughts on?
Well, there's a couple reasons. Silicon Valley has a lot of engineering talent. It has a geek quotient around there, and people who like pushing the boundaries. And all the way back to the guys who started Apple, right? They were talking at the Homebrew Computer Society when it was 200 people, and their own bosses didn't think that their idea was that important. HP and Atari both said, "See you later. Go start a company because we don't think you're going to sell that many computers." Nobody knew this was $1 trillion business in 1976, right? And sort of Paul is in that stage, is trying to start an idea that very few people in the world really understand or care about. I do, but I'm way off on this side. But that's part of what makes Silicon Valley special too, is there's a bunch of people in a small area where you can try new ideas, because we all like trying things.
And sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I say any day of the week there are dozens and dozens of meetups you can go to, and just sort of tech events, and there's something about having this dense concentration of people physically in the same area anytime you have questions, you can bounce them off people. If you need a startup lawyer, if you need to talk to investors and things like that, they're all there within a couple miles, you know. And so, but I mean, look at how much New York has developed a startup ecosystem over the last 5 years, and you know, there are communities popping up all over the States and all over Europe too. And so the nice thing is, like, Israel, absolutely. I mean, there's something about having, you know, Silicon Valley in its early days, having universities there, having big companies that spawn other startups, that there's certain things about the geography of Silicon Valley that were particularly useful in the early days, but really it's a cultural thing, and it can take root anywhere.
It's okay to fail, right? I mean, that's the big thing here.
Well, there is that cultural attribute where you can try an idea. Like I don't know that Paul is really going to make it, right? Because how many of the guys who started the personal computers back in the Apple I days, how many of them succeeded? There were lots of competitors that we don't know about anymore, right? One made it and went, and you know, and it started a whole industry. But I don't know that Paul's going to make it. But Paul's trying an idea that I find very fascinating, and somebody is going to figure it out. It might not be this year, it might not be next year, but it's okay to fail, right? It's okay for Paul to try an idea that's weird and different and that most people don't understand. And if it doesn't work this year, and it'll work in 4 years when everybody has these Google glasses on, then he can come back and try it again, right?
I think it's all about, like, getting people to understand that it's just not risky. Like, if you know, say you're at a big company and you have a steady salary and you decide to go do a startup, like, if you leave on good terms, you can always go back. You can always go back. Like, we're so fortunate that we're in this position where, you know, odds are we're not going to go hungry. Like, we're going to be okay. And going to a startup, it's just not risky. It's just not. And it takes a while to get people to really understand that. Like, at every point in my career, if I've decided to go do something that was less stable, my dad, who's he's a scientist, and he sort of grew up at a time where stability was very important. He's always said, you know, are you sure you want to do that? This is like, you're giving up a good option here, and you always have to sort of have the, you know, confidence to say, yes, I'm sure this is what I want to do. And then 6 months later, he's always said, oh, I'm so glad that you took that path instead. And you sort of just need to tell yourself, like, this isn't risky, and I can always go back if I need to, you know?
The other thing that Silicon Valley has that London has some of is spaces for entrepreneurs to hang out, because you have to get your courage up, and you know, hanging out with other entrepreneurs, people who are trying to do something different and unique in the world is important. So you were an EIR at one of the venture capital firms, right?
Yeah.
And you got to hang out, and you know, you get fed off that, right? That flow of cool people coming by.
Yeah, and you see all these companies come in, and you say, wow, that's awesome. They've started a really cool company. I want to go start a cool company.
Yeah. And so it helps get your courage up to try to fight some of that mom and dadism, you know, go get a job at Microsoft and, you know, you'll be set for life kind of thing. And the other thing is there's all this infrastructure, like, and that's why Mark Zuckerberg moved Facebook from Boston to Silicon Valley. There's lawyers, there's PR people, right? Journalists like me who understand this world and can explain it to people. I live in Silicon Valley. I don't live in Boston. I don't live in Kansas, and I don't live anywhere else. And that's, you know, what I hear about. And then there's a lot of engineering talent. So as companies start getting funded, and like you're probably hiring Android developers, and
hiring a lot of
and
people,
you're probably hiring a lot of big data, like data scientists, right? Because you're going to build databases that are going to be petabytes in size, right? And so where does that expertise exist? Well, you know, it exists at Yahoo or Google or Facebook, or you know,
where there are a lot of other companies, basically.
Where there, where people, you know, a guy at Twitter or a girl at Twitter, you know, built a database and understands how to build a real-time messaging system. Well, now he needs that. He can go over to Twitter and get her out of there and make something happen. That's hard to do in other places in the world, right?
Yeah. Paul, highlight just for the viewers. Someone's only come across it, to be fair, they've only just heard about it. Just let them know what it's about.
Yeah, so Highlight's a mobile app that helps you learn more about the people around you. So basic idea is that if you've installed the app and you're standing near me, your profile will show up on my phone. So I can see your photos, so I know it's you. I can see your full name. I can see where you work. I can see all the friends we have in common. I can see all the other stuff we have in common, like if we went to the same school, or we're from the same hometown, or we like a lot of the same bands. And I can see a history of all the times that we've crossed paths before. But if I'm walking down the street with my phone in my pocket and highlight see someone particularly interesting nearby, it'll notify me.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Just and you're on all the stores, App Store.
Just on iOS right now.
Right, okay. Plans to go across to the others?
Yeah, definitely. We want to be on different platforms.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, you're rock stars. Thank you so much for your time.
Good luck to London, man. Come on strong. Don't let Berlin kick your ass.
UK as well. UK, Tech Britain. Thank you.